Okay, so picture this. A surgeon is about to perform a critical life or death procedure for the very first time. Now, what if they could practice it, not once, but 100 times before ever touching a patient? That's the incredible power of simulation. But here's the thing, even the most advanced training tech is only as good as the rules that guide it. Today, we're diving into the story of how a crucial set of standards for healthcare training came to be, creating a real blueprint for practice that absolutely saves lives. I mean, that's the big question, isn't it? How do you possibly prepare our doctors, our nurses, and our first responders for the most intense situations you can imagine, all without putting a single patient at risk? The pressure is just immense, and there's basically zero room for error. And the answer is healthcare simulation. It's a really powerful idea. You create these realistic but totally safe environments where professionals can build muscle memory, they can practice communication, and they can master really complex procedures. It's the ultimate practice ground before they get anywhere near a real patient. But as this amazing field started to take off, a new problem popped up. Everybody was doing simulation, which was great, but they were all doing it a little bit differently. There wasn't a shared language, no common set of rules. It became super clear that for simulation to be truly effective, it needed a blueprint. And this is what's so cool about this story. This global standard didn't start with some big top-down mandate. Nope. It began with a simple roundtable discussion. Back in 2009, the board of directors for the International Nursing Association for Clinical Simulation and Learning, or INACSL for short, they just got together and said, hey, we kind of need some consistency here. And that was the spark. So how do you take a conversation and turn it into a concrete set of rules that people are going to use all over the world? Well, you build it piece by piece, and you get a lot of help. Let's take a look at how that one idea became a foundational document for the entire field. The whole process was incredibly thoughtful. After that first discussion in 2009, they didn't just write the rules and declare them law. By 2010, they had a first draft of 7 standards ready, and they presented it to their members to get feedback. This wasn't just about being transparent, it was about making sure these standards would actually work in the real world. Only after getting all that input was the first official version published in 2011. And this right here is probably the most important point. From the very beginning, this was never a top-down project. INACSL put together a task force that mixed its board members with its general members. Why? To make sure that the people who would actually be using these standards had a real hand in writing them. It was a community effort, 100%. But publishing that first version, that was just the beginning. The folks behind this knew that medicine and technology are always changing, right? So they designed the standards to be living documents, ready to evolve and grow based on real-world feedback. And they didn't just listen to their own people. By 2014, they wanted to get some outside eyes on this stuff. So they invited 20 external healthcare organizations to review the standards. 16 of them came back with detailed feedback. This was absolutely crucial for making sure the standards weren't just some niche nursing guideline, but a solid framework for all of healthcare. So what happened after all that feedback came pouring in? Well, the standards got better and they got bigger. This input from the wider healthcare community directly led to expanding the standards into new, critical areas that were becoming more and more important in the field. So in 2015, all that feedback resulted in 2 brand new standards. First up was Simulation-Enhanced Interprofessional Education, which was a direct response to the growing fact that modern healthcare is a team sport. You've got doctors, nurses, technicians, and they all need to train together. The second was Simulation Design, which was all about making sure the scenarios themselves were really well built for maximum learning. These were huge additions. And this process of refining and improving just never stopped. New editions were published in 2013 and then again in 2017. And each update wasn't just slapping a new version number on it, it was a chance to bring in the latest research and best practices, keeping that blueprint constantly up to date. Okay, so all that brings us to the modern era. After more than a decade of growing and refining, the standards went through their biggest transformation yet, which really reflected their new status in the healthcare world. In 2021, the name officially changed. And what's so interesting here is that this wasn't just some marketing gimmick. Changing the name to the Healthcare Simulation Standards of Best Practice was a huge signal. It basically announced that these standards weren't just for INXSL members anymore. They had become the gold standard for the entire field of simulation. And that 2021 update also brought in two more critical areas. Pre-briefing was added to standardize everything that happens before a simulation even starts, to set the stage for success. And professional development was included to make sure the educators themselves were constantly getting better. They were building a true 360-degree framework for excellence. So, when you look back at the journey, from a simple conversation to a global benchmark, you see this powerful story of collaboration and just constant improvement. It's a legacy that isn't set in stone. It's alive and it's still growing. And this quote just says it all, doesn't it? The source itself calls them living documents. That is the key. They are not some static rulebook that's going to sit on a shelf and collect dust. No way. They are an active, evolving guide designed to change right along with our knowledge and our technology. Which really leaves us with one final crucial question. This whole story shows us a model for how to create and maintain excellence. As medicine continues to leap forward, the real challenge is making sure our blueprint for practice evolves right along with it. So the question isn't just how we'll prepare for the challenges of tomorrow, it's how are we all going to contribute to building that future?